One of the most basic aspects of studio operation, from the smallest home studios to the biggest production rooms, is signal flow. Every engineer or producer needs to be well versed in the ins and outs, routing, and overall flow of audio and MIDI signals to get the most out of all their gear. This course will take a look at the basics of audio and MIDI signal flow, from initial hookup to mixer signal routing to MIDI connections. The course will start off with basic studio hookup and the different kinds of audio inputs. It'll cover signal flow in a traditional console, including those often impenetrable console flowcharts that can tell professional engineers everything they need to know about an unfamiliar mixer. There'll also be a look at the patch bay, the routing heart of any traditional studio, from the smaller rack mount units to the larger console bays. For the modern studio, the course will go over standard DAW interfaces and their most common computer connections, as well as the digital audio connections that come into play when the time inevitably rolls around to expand the studio's I/O to up the channel count. Moving inside the box, the course will cover the various types of DAW channel strips and signal routing within them, including typical processor order and the basic stereo mix bus. There'll be a section on various common signal routing techniques used in recording and mixing, including pre- and post-fader sends, setting up a musician's cue mix, and using send and return hookups. And the course will look at methods for grouping tracks together, like rerouting signal flow for audio groups, as well as setting up mix groups and using VCA faders. For mix scenarios where there may be a need or desire to combine the DAW's mixing tools with external hardware processors, there'll be a section on the integration of analog hardware with the DAW, utilizing plugins that take the audio back and forth between the virtual mixer and the outside world. And finally, the course will take a quick look at the other type of signal flow in the modern studio, the MIDI signals that control the virtual instruments that are so integrated into modern studio production. It'll include standard MIDI connections, both traditional and modern, and the MIDI and audio signal routing and hookup for working with both internal virtual instruments and external hardware instruments. Coming up next, we'll jump right into audio signal flow with a look at basic studio hookup.